Okay, so I am going to tell you how I think you can get your very own Caitlin Clark signed autograph jersey, basketball card, whatever it is. And how do I think you can do it? And how do I know? I mean, I'm coming all the way from Buffalo, New York, but let me tell you why. Because I myself got one signed. Actually, two, wait. Three signed. So that's right. One game, three signed Caitlin Clark jerseys. So how did I do it? Okay, so I am going to do a few series of videos on this because I think I've kind of figured out the clue or some of the tricks. So first off, you have to do everything you possibly can to get floor seats. You have to get courtside seats. Now, you don't have to, I shouldn't say that, but it raises the odds of getting autographs by tenfold. So I'll give you an example. You can go check a YouTube video out about a month ago from the Indiana Fever that said, watch 5 minutes of Caitlin Clark signing autographs in advance of a Tuesday game against Connecticut. I think it was about a month ago. And you'll see where she walks through. Now, she spends some of her time walking through the fans, and you'll see that if you were to look at a Indiana Fever seat kind of a chart, that's like section 2, section 3, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But once she's done with those, she starts hitting up all of the courtside patrons, which are the folks that are buying the floor seats. And then there's a whole line. So I myself got in that line really late. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I did a little bit of research, but I got in way late, and yet she was so gracious, she signed everybody's. So I found tickets for $222, and I'll even prove that to you sometime in this video. I'll show a picture. But $222, I got 2 seats, and that was the key to getting signed. Now, I got 2 signed, and I was there with my son, but I also sent my wife into another section. And the benefit of that is that she was on Caitlin watch. Okay, so while I was in the tunnel, which is where you get the access to the players going back and forth, my wife was in section 18, and you can look that up online, right down near the floor, kind of watching where Caitlin was. And she actually said, hey, she's over by us right now. Now, the crazy part was we tried to get to section 3 and 2 with the section 18 seats. That's lower bowl. And we were told you should be able to still go over there in advance of the game. Well, they said no when we got there. They said you can't. So more to the story about that. I think you can still shuttle over there. One of the ushers said, well, you can still kind of get over there, but how late it was, they wouldn't allow for it. But my wife was in section 18, and she saw her walking across the floor while we were in the tunnel waiting for Caitlin Clark and some of the other players who did come through. She's like, you're missing Caitlin Clark signing people in the courtside right now. She was able to run all the way down and hand it off to someone that was sitting in courtside who was generous enough to go get it signed and give it back to us. So that's how we got our third one. But back to the tunnel. You have to get courtside seats. You have to do whatever you can, because there you are almost, you're not guaranteed, but you have a really good shot at least getting one thing signed. And like I said, I showed up super late. The tunnel was full. Matter of fact, the usher, there was a woman usher who said, no, you're too late. Pass everybody, and you just have to go to your seats. Well, I said, oh, okay, sure. And then I ducked right into the crowd, into the tunnel, and I snuck in, and then I had my son with me, and he wedged in, and a couple of the folks actually said, oh, here, move up to the ropes. So that's how we got 2 jerseys signed. We weren't even expecting that. Honestly, we were just hoping for a glimpse of Caitlin Clark. A signing was still beyond the pale, but super pumped. We got 2 signed, and I think you can do it too. So do whatever you got to get to get courtside. You wait for them. So right now you have the chance, because with Caitlin not playing, while it stinks for every fan of the WNBA and every fan of basketball, it is to your benefit, because courtside seats are lower and lower because you're not really able to watch your favorite player. Now, you can get really close to her, and her just being there was good enough for us. We drove all the way from New York to see her. But have someone, if you can, have someone else in another part of the stadium, maybe even a Bluetooth we were just group texting with a couple of folks and just said, hey, here's where she is. Can you run out and go get her? If I would have had more folks, we could have had somebody manning the tunnel, someone watching her. Maybe that's a little crazy to do, but for our first game, we really were hoping to just get a picture with her, anything. So it really worked out. And we're not the kind of people, honestly. I got 3 jerseys here, and you know what? These beauties are not going on eBay. Not a chance. We're keeping them. They're all youth sizes. They're all for our kids. But we're keeping those puppies. Now, there was a lot of people in line. You could tell your classics. They're there every week. I mean, one of the guys had face paint in his hat, and I'm sure he's a fever rowdy guy. But I saw him on it. I saw him in the video. He was next to us. I mean, he had every photo for anybody who walked by. I don't begrudge anybody for that. I guess what I'm saying is, though, you will be competing with people who want to resell, want to buy and sell, or want to get these and sell them and make money. And I think that's the unfortunate part a little bit, because Caitlin Clark is, as she walks by, she's very stoic. She won't really say anything. I was actually I just said thank you, and I did hear her say, "Hey, sure," which was kind of cool. But for the most part, she's not going to say a word. So don't expect a lot. Don't expect pictures in the tunnel either. She was strictly signing. Nobody was going to get pictures taken. Now, I have seen other videos where she's done pictures with people, where they would say, hey, can we do a quick selfie? But that really slowed down autographs. So I think she's kind of gotten away from that. But I'll give you more tips on another video. But for right now, if you're going to the game while Caitlin is out, you got a good chance of getting inexpensive courtside seats. And those are the ones that get you right up close to the players. Now, I would say this, a lot of the players ran right through. I thought that was unfortunate. If I was the WNBA, I'd almost mandate that if you have courtside seat payers, you should be signing all of those folks, because they're paying top dollar. But a lot of them ran through. I think Lexi Hull took a picture. Sophie was good enough to give some high fives and maybe take a picture too, but for the most part, it was just Caitlin signing. I did hear that there was a basketball court outside that we played with, and I'll show some video of that later, where the kids can go and get face paint, and there's balloons. And I did hear that Dantas was out there playing a few hours before the game. So she was out on the public court that they make, kind of like a tailgate court, which was so much fun. For families, you want to go way early. But I'll have way more tips. This is my first video, but I think if you're looking for a Caitlin Clark signature, and you want one, and you can get your way to Indianapolis like I did, the key is do everything you can to get courtside seats. And if you have to pay up for them, you pay up, because it'll pay off with an autograph. Not a guarantee, but for me, it really worked. All right, there's my tip. I'm going to send some more videos out, because I got a lot more tips. Pre-game, I have post-game, where do you go? I learned all of this on the fly, and I really enjoyed the game, but I learned a lot. So I'm going back. I hope you do too.